Hey Jellyfishes, this is my first video. This is my full MMA breakdown for the DDP and Khamzat fight. So I did record this yesterday, but just please watch and tell me what you think of it. I think that I'm going to be pretty spot on with some of the things I said, even though not all of them, but I do believe some of the things I said will play a part in here. But just enjoy. Thanks.
Channel, and today we are going to talk about the full breakdown of how Khamzat versus Dricus du Plessis is going to play out. Now, this is the biggest fight of the year. This is the most anticipated fight of the year. We have people coming out of the woodwork talking about this fight, and it is going to be a certified banger, pure entertainment, and you guys are going to love it. I'm going to love it. We are all super excited. But now, let's talk about how this fight is actually going to happen. Now, on this channel, I have been DDP heavy, talking about how DDP can win and how I think he's going to be able to win. But after doing some more intensive and thorough game study on both of these guys, I have some new opinions on how I think this fight is going to happen. Now, first, let's start with Khamzat Chimaev, undefeated, 14 wins, and now let's talk about his style. And I'm mainly going to be talking about the striking aspect of these guys, but it's still very important in terms of how it relates to the grappling for both of these guys. But let's start with Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev is a low volume, walk you down type of striker. He's very defensively responsible. And I know you're gonna be like, wait, let me finish what I'm saying. When he walks you down, he doesn't just try to land for the sake of landing. When he walks people down, you see this in the Jared Mearshart fight. You see this even in the Gilbert Burns fight. When he has certain shot openings and certain shots that he has upstairs with boxing combos. And when he sees them, he hits them very fast, very quick, very technical, very technically sound. And if you try hitting him back when he sees those exchanges, when he sees those pockets, he's very, very good with his Dutch shield or shield block, and which he can mix it in with slipping and rolling out of the way of punches. And he has very good kick combos in the sense that he can sometimes set up his kicks in a way to set up his hands. And we really saw them in the Gilbert Burns fight. But he's more dangerous in close boxing exchanges than DDP. And the only way Khamzat gets hit is mainly by punches and by the boxing combinations. If you watch the Kamaru Usman fight, Kamaru Usman wasn't piecing up Khamzat with kicks, he was piecing him up with the boxing, right? And it's the same story with Gilbert Burns. But the thing is, something we gotta pay attention to is that Khamzat only gets hurt underneath two circumstances: when he's either tired, or B, when he's trying to punch or go at you when he doesn't see those usual openings that I was talking about. So when he gets tired, he cannot slip, block, or roll as fast as he usually can. So therefore, it leaves him open to taking shots that he otherwise would have been able to defend or that wouldn't have landed. And the second thing is that when Khamzat goes at people, and we saw this in the Gilbert Burns fight, without seeing his usual openings, right, and he's just going at people, he can be defensively irresponsible. But we saw in the Kamaru Usman fight that he was able to clean that up and he was able to tighten that up. So we didn't really see that there. But something that's very key to mention Khamzat is that he can crack super hard and super unexpected in those close boxing exchanges. And we saw that both in the Usman fight in the second round and in the Gilbert Burns fight in the second round. I think also in the first round and also a little bit in the third round as well. He can be able to deceptively crack you in there with an uppercut, with a split shot, or a cross or something like that, right? But the thing I also want to mention is that even when he is tired, he still has a great way of being able to defend and move back and, stay defensively responsible at times. Although it's not as good when he is fresh, it's still there and he's still doing it at a high level. My point is, when analyzing Khamzat, right, Khamzat will only get hurt by upstairs boxing combinations, basically, right? Not downstairs, right? And even when he's being pressured backwards, he's never really in that much danger. Not only that, but Khamzat doesn't really care if you punch or kick his body or legs or stomach. He doesn't really care about that, being honest. His main defense is defending the temples, the sides of his head, right? That is more important to him, and he's really hard to land on. Something that people are not understanding about Khamzat is that Khamzat is more hard to land on upstairs on his head, but he's more hard to land on than people understand him to be. I guess if I can put him in a way that you guys can understand, he's kind of like a more safer walk forward pressure Sean Strickland with really good offensive striking and boxing like Darren Till. He's basically like Darren Till and Sean Strickland had a baby that was patient, if I can put it in simple terms, right? But he's basically some sort of hybrid of these people, right? But instead of using head movement like I talked about, like Darren Till and Sean Strickland, because those guys use head movement to slip and roll out of those things, he mixes it in with a Dutch shield block or just a shield block with some slip and roll, which is actually makes Khamzat Chimaev a very it makes him a very interesting and unique type of striker in the sense that when he's walking at you, he's very dangerous, but when you're coming at him, he's never really in that much danger. He's actually a very good in the stand-up, more so than people are giving him credit for, or more so than they're understanding it to be. People always criticize him saying that, oh, he has low volume. It's like, yeah, that's the point. But when you look at the efficiency of those shots, how clean and how good those shots are, they usually land. So that's basically Khamzat Chimaev. And notice, I haven't even spoke about the grappling, by the way. All right, but anyways, let's talk about Dricus du Plessis. Dricus du Plessis is actually a very good kickboxer, but more so, and really more specifically, Dricus du Plessis is an amazing kicker. He's very good with kicks. And if you watch his fights, especially his last 4, 5, 6 fights, he is very, very, very kick heavy. He throws amazing kicks. I'm going to say this again. Dricus du Plessis throws amazing kicks. He throws good low kicks, body kicks, head kicks, from with his left kick, his right kick. He mixes them up so well. He does it very good. They're fast, they're powerful, right? But when it comes to his overall striking skill set, apart from the kicks, he really has 3 modes, or really I could say 4 modes. He's either blitzing, number 1. 2, he is not punching at all and just kicking only, just kick only. Number 3 is that he's blitzing with the kicks, or number 4, he's not doing any of that and he's going to transition to some sort of takedown or judo throw. But I'll get to that. But I guess we can really say he has 3 modes: blitzing, number 1. Number 2 is blitzing and kicking, and number 3 is just kicking only, right? He's either blitzing, kicking, or blitzing and kicking. He's either doing one of those things. But Dricus du Plessis in general has a very hard time landing on people upstairs. I mean, if you watch any of these fights with Adesanya, or even the Sean Strickland second fight and the first fight, and even if you watch the Darren Till fight, or just any one of these fights, you will notice that he has a very hard time landing on people upstairs. He's not a very quick or technically sound or varied boxer upstairs, right? Right? He's not the type of person with good crosses, hooks, jabs, uppercuts, or anything like that. And he just gets worse when he gets pressured backwards because he just goes out to that high guard shield. That it's actually very good because it prevents him from not getting knocked out. But my point is that in boxing exchanges, he's just not very good because the only thing Dricus du Plessis has is a blitz, mainly. He mainly has a blitz. That's his bread and butter. And the times when he does get blitz, I saw this in the Robert Whittaker fight, if Dricus du Plessis gets blitz himself, he resorts to a heavy, dirty man boxing, right, to try to hit you with. But it does take him some time to land it. But when he does land it, as we saw in the Robert Whittaker fight, it lands pretty well, not gonna lie, right? But the thing is that he throws so many kicks, a variety of kicks, and he can sometimes piece it up with some blitzes sometimes, especially in the Sean Strickland fight, that it makes him very, very hard to deal with at times, right? But, right, the thing is that his pure stand-up with the hands in reality is terrible. It's just, and I know this is not going to sit well with many people, but it's the truth. He's pure stand-up in reality is not great, and that his blitz is really, it's either he's blitzing or nothing. That's really it. And this is the reason why Dricus du Plessis wins a lot. It's because of his ability to transition from the floor to transition to the floor with people. Dricus du Plessis comes from a judo background mainly, right? And something that people don't really talk about is that his ability to transition from striking to the ground game and put himself in the stronger, more better positions to land ground and pound or maybe latch up a submission very quickly is really how Dricus du Plessis wins a lot of these fights, right? We saw this in the Darren Till fight. He was able to do that. We saw this in the Robert Whittaker fight. He got a judo trip throw on Robert Whittaker, landed ground and pound. We saw that with the Derek Brunson fight where he was able to trip throw Derek Brunson and get get some ground and pound and reverse him a little bit. We saw that with the Adesanya fight. He was able to trip slash take down Adesanya to get a submission. And we even saw this with Sean Strickland in the first fight, even in the second fight a little bit, where he was able to trip Sean Strickland, which that is probably the best part of his game, is that his ability to switch from these things. But the reality of the situation is that DDP does not have any, like at all, boxing combinations really. And the thing is, when you watch his fight, especially against Adesanya, especially if you watch it against his fight against Darren Till, is that when he's meeting somebody who's a striker who can outmatch him or punish his blitz while moving forward, if you punish his blitz even 1, 2, 3 times, right, even just once, DDP will completely abandon the blitz. He won't do it, and he really just will stand in front of you with that high guard, maybe land a kick or two, and then talk about those judo throws and clips I was just talking about, and those pseudo takedowns that he does, right. So the thing is, you gotta understand something about his blitz, right? Is that when he's being pushed backwards, he will result to either two things. But basically what happens is this: when DDP is being outmatched in the striking, or he's being pushed backwards, or he's really under fire and the heat is getting heavy and you're moving onto him, DDP will do one of two things. He will do the dirty man blitz that he loves doing, but he's not doing it to hurt you. That's not the point. He's doing it to get you off him. He's doing it to get himself out of danger, right? Weirdly enough, that blitz that he has is DDP's defense, right? And the second thing DDP will do is either that or B, he will result to some sort of clinch, takedown, trip, throw, right? When he's being pressed backwards, right? We saw that with the Adesanya fight. We saw that with the Darren Till fight. We saw that a couple times, actually, even with Derek Brunson, when he will result to some level of that. In addition, something else that people don't talk about is that DDP is very strong on the ground. He has great fundamentals in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? His wrestling is not that strong, but his jiu-jitsu is actually great. He mainly relies on his strength in the jiu-jitsu because he's usually stronger than the people he's going to the ground with, but he mixes it in with fundamentals in such a way that he's able to get the submission or dominant position or survive. And that's how I believe he was able to get out of there with Derek Brunson, and that's how he was able to get out of there with Darren Till, because the thing is, DDP and Darren Till, I'll probably say DDP was smaller than Darren Till, but the thing is that Darren Till was not as fundamentally sound as DDP on the ground. So when DDP took it to the ground, he found more success on the ground than he did on the feet, right? So therefore, that's how he was able to outmuscle Darren Till and able to get the submission on him, right? But the key here, and this is really the unfortunate key that you'll see, is that when DDP fights guys, he mainly fought guys who relied more on head movement to slip and hold purely. They didn't use any type of shield block or hand blocking necessarily. And the only person who really did that was Sean Strickland. You understand? And he wasn't able to finish Sean Strickland. You understand? But I digress. He mainly fought guys who use head movement to get out of those punches, right? But the nice thing that I love about DDP's blitz is that at times he does it in such a way where he wants to aim and hit your head. So basically, when you're moving backwards, slipping and rolling, right, you will see that he will eventually touch you. And I think we saw that mainly in the Adesanya fight. And we even saw that with some of his earlier fights. He was able to do that while blitzing people, right? While they were trying to move their head backwards, he was able, or try to circle to the side, he's able to trip them on the side of their head or even outright in their face, right? And when DDP finds that range, he will crack you if he's not hitting you with his own dirty man combinations, right? But it's that use of head movement I talked about, right? And Sean Strickland, like I mentioned, used some level of shield block against DDP, and DDP wasn't able to finish Sean because of that. I'm telling you, DDP, especially if you watch the first fight, DDP was trying like hell to finish Sean Strickland. DDP really tried his heart out, and he wasn't able to finish Sean simply because Sean's defense is just really well in the sense that he uses a very specific type of defense that nullifies that dirty man blitz and the transitions he can do. And also, Sean is good enough on the ground to defensively grapple against DDP, and that was by far the hardest matchup for DDP's ever had. They went 10 rounds, and yes, I do believe that DDP won by clear decision, right? But the thing is that what we saw in the first Sean Strickland fight, if you guys watched that thing, it was basically a mixture of this. Sean would jab, DDP would blitz, kick, and then it was some sort of combination where DDP's either blitzing or kicking, and Sean is just jabbing and moving back, right? The thing is that Sean never punished DDP for that blitz like Adesanya did, like Darren Till did, and even like you can say Robert Whittaker at a certain stage in a little bit did, right? And the problem is that Sean is not as offensively varied, clean, and dangerous and as fast as Khamzat Chimaev. If you look at Khamzat Chimaev's strikes, he has a more variety than Sean Strickland, right? And the thing is, right, DDP, when he's faced with people who can crack him in that blitz, he has to go to the ground. Because like I mentioned, when he knows his blitz isn't landing, working, or even more specifically, he's getting punished for it, he will go to the ground. Trust me, DDP is going to go to the ground. And luckily for him, the guys he did go against, Izzy and especially Darren Till, and you could probably say Sean in some capacity, but especially Izzy, they were not as skilled and not as strong to deal with DDP. Especially like I mentioned, he has great BJJ. Like, please listen to me, my people. DDP has really great jiu-jitsu. Like, his jiu-jitsu is super fundamentally sound, and he's super strong, and he's able to use his strength in a way that really helps him out there, right? But the thing is that we have to understand is that DDP will grapple simply because he doesn't want to get hurt on the feet, right? He knows that when he gets heavy on the feet or he's not landing on the feet, we saw this with the Adesanya fight, we saw this a little bit with the Robert Whittaker fight, and we saw this with the Darren Till fight, that when he gets a little bit heavy on the feet, he has to take it to the ground and he doesn't want to go anywhere. And especially against Sean, somebody who was good defensively and on the ground, but just wasn't dangerous in the offense. DDP had to go full X Games mode, full button smashing, blitz and kick, doing everything he can because he knew that he couldn't take it to the ground. And at the same time, luckily for him, Sean was not as offensively varied as him. But then the thing now, being honest, and I am some level of a DDP fan. I know that doesn't sound like it now because I made this video doesn't sound as cool. But the thing is that DDP's wins mainly come from guys who are just stylistically great for his matchup, who are just stylistically great for him. The skills matchup for him, funny enough, that's how he keeps on winning. DDP is very great. He has a great skill set. It's just that he fought guys who were great for his skill set, right? But DDP, low-key, had easier matchups if you consider the totality and the overall skill set of his game. It's very powerful, very creative, and there is a method to DDP that's not hard to figure out. But with that being said, even on the feet, I still believe that Khamzat Chimaev can win based on the striking alone. Not to mention that the takedown threat he's going to have is even going to open up the striking. And we saw that takedown threat that Whittaker and Brunson have be able to leave some opportunities on DDP, and they were able to hit those shots. You know, the only difference with Darren Till is that had Darren Till had a bit better defense, I still believe the DDP would have won because he was so strong on the ground. But that's the thing. In the pure jiu-jitsu, I don't think the DDP will be able to muscle Khamzat Chimaev away. You know, but the crux of this comes to my argument, which is that Khamzat is going to walk down DDP. He's going to do it patiently, not overloading him with strikes, but he's going to wait for his opportunities. You know, he's shots to open up, and he is going to land them hard, fast, and strong. And if DDP tries to blitz Khamzat is going to use that shield block and slip and roll head movement. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Or he's going to find these opportunities to crack DDP at times, and as he's blitzing, he's going to crack DDP, right? He's going to know DDP as he's blitzing him, he's going to crack DDP, right? Therefore, resulting to DDP needing to use those judo trip throws against Khamzat. And if anything, I think we're going to see Khamzat be the one to defend the takedowns and get back up on the feet. You know, I think I think that if Khamzat is able to slip and roll and get back on the feet and find success again, and DDP is going to be the one shooting takedowns on Khamzat, but I don't think he's going to get those takedowns because something I should mention is that Khamzat Chimaev is still a very good wrestler, especially wrestler, not grappler. The jiu-jitsu, I'd probably say in terms of pure strength in the jiu-jitsu, DDP is stronger with jiu-jitsu, but when it comes to the wrestling aspect, DDP gets very tired, especially when you look at the Darren Till fight. You can look at the Darren Till fight, even a little bit with the Adesanya fight when it came to some of the wrestling exchanges that they had. Even with Robert Whittaker, like you see that in the moments where DDP is specifically wrestling, he is getting tired. You know, I don't believe he's bad at wrestling. I just believe it's just not his skill set, and he's more of a jiu-jitsu guy than he is a wrestling guy, right? But the thing is that Khamzat is a very strong grappler, even when he is dead tired, and we saw this in the Kamaru Usman fight. You understand? And I should also mention this, that you only need to crack DDP 1 or 2 times when he blitz. You know, you crack him with a good elbow shot or something, and then he will completely abandon the blitz. He will not use it anymore. And funny enough, had Derek Brunson been a bit more defensively responsible when pressing at DDP, we could have seen I still believe DDP would have won because Derek Brunson was tired as hell, right? But I digress. You know, because Darren Till just doesn't, because Brunson does not have the same jiu-jitsu to beat DDP in, right? And by the way, it makes perfect sense that DDP has more submissions on his record because he's super strong in the BJJ. I've seen that, and he's really, really well with his fundamentals there. It's just the wrestling he could use some work in, but I don't believe that he'll be able to take Khamzat onto the ground, right? But if anything, I think that DDP should be careful with defending submissions, which I believe DDP will defend the submissions, especially ground early, and get back on his feet when he can. But I do believe that he's going to be able to do that. You understand? But just like what we saw in the Brunson fights and also with the Adesanya fight, that, you know, wrestling does gas out DDP a lot more than Khamzat will. You know, I'm basically saying that if both guys were wrestling, Khamzat is going to win the grappling. If both guys were dead tired, right, on the 5th round and they had to wrestle, Khamzat is winning the wrestling exchanges. I don't know about the jiu-jitsu, and I'm not even necessarily saying that DDP would submit Khamzat. I am not saying that, but I am saying that in the jiu-jitsu, DDP can surprise us and get really good positions on Khamzat Chimaev. I would not be surprised by that at all. So really what I'm saying is that I have Khamzat winning by most accounts. Now, I do have a way DDP can win at the end of it, right? But the thing is, like, I have Khamzat winning either by KO in round 3 or in round 4 or by submission. You understand? In an absolute clinic, breaking it down. I also have Khamzat has the added takedown threat that should open up the striking for him, right? And if DDP keeps this on the ground, I think it's going to be better for DDP to go to the ground than for Khamzat because DDP has that strength advantage on the ground, in my opinion, especially in the jiu-jitsu. I should also add that when watching the Usman and Whittaker fights, Khamzat's shots are very fast, very athletic, especially in the first round, but Khamzat doesn't really use a lot of energy. You know, if you watch those fights, Khamzat's kind of on the top of those guys. He's controlling their hands. He's kind of on top of them. He's chipping away at them, and he's looking for them to just expose their neck. And I do believe that we can see some sort of Usman first round from DDP in some capacity, right? And then the later rounds will be what I just was talking about this whole time. But the thing is, he doesn't use a lot of energy. In fact, he makes those guys work more than him. Because especially if you're watching the Robert Whittaker fight, right? Robert Whittaker looked so tired and gassed way more than Khamzat. You know, I think one thing we always talk about is DDP's constantly improving from fight to fight. But so is Khamzat. You know, in the Burn fight, he learned not to go at people recklessly, and we didn't see that in this fight. And we saw that, you know, his first round takedowns in wrestling, you know, he was able to clean that up significantly and get it better in the fight with Robert Whittaker. So we're also seeing improvements, very slight improvements that you have to pay attention to, just like we are seeing improvements in DDP, you know, and just his more varied skill set, right? And honestly, right, if Robert Whittaker would have escaped from Khamzat, right, I still believe Khamzat would have won in the 2nd or the 3rd round. He would have took him down, right? I mean, Robert Whittaker would have already been gassed from all that trying to escape in the 1st round. But even still, then I believe that Khamzat could have done some damage on the feet a little bit, only to then again take him down. And we really would have seen a round 3 or round 2 TKO standing. And I'm saying standing, not necessarily ground and pound, or even just by submission. When you keep on defending, when you keep on the ground and you're wrestling, you're getting tired, you get sloppy. It's super demoralizing because you're just like, dang, this guy's not going away. He's still on top of me, and he's not really that tired. And I have to use all this energy. And I think for DDP, we might see some sort of similar theme, especially in the grappling in some capacity, right? But the thing is, Kamaru Usman had a great gas tank against Khamzat, right? And that just shows you how great of a champ Usman was, because you have to remember Usman is still debatably, okay, he's not better than GSP in welterweight, but he's the 2nd greatest welterweight of all time. And welterweight is a very competitive division, believe it or not, it's actually an amazing division. And Kamaru Usman went undefeated in the UFC for a very long time, and he had amazing takedown defense, and he had amazing grappling accolades of himself. He almost went to the Olympics. He was an NCAA wrestler. I think he has some accolades there as well. He had a 99% takedown defense and everything. But my point is that Usman has a really great gas tank. You know, even in these fights, he's known for having great gas tanks. And he was just a couple, if I'm not mistaken, he had fought for the title earlier that year. And yes, he was on 10 days notice, but so was Khamzat. Khamzat was supposed to fight Paulo Costa, and then he got switched up. And it's crazy how people now will talk bad about that when saying, oh, you know, Usman was 10 days. Like, I remember that time when it got switched up, everyone was like, whoa, Kamaru's a way harder fight. And then when he wins, oh, it's just 10 days notice. You get me? Meantime, it's 10 days notice for Khamzat as well. Imagine going to school, they tell you you're going to write a math exam on Friday, and then, you know, 2 days ahead they actually go like, never mind, you're going to write a biology exam. So like, was he training? Was he studying? Was he training? Was Khamzat training? Yes, but was he training for somebody else, completely different skill set? Yes, and the fact he was able to make those adjustments and win is still impressive, right? But the thing is, something I want to mention with that Kamaru Usman fight is that had Kamaru kept it on the feet a bit more, and landed those straight boxing combinations on Khamzat, I do believe Usman would have won this fight. But then Khamzat was able to get the takedown in the third round, even in the second round, but he didn't have a dominant position. You know, Usman could have had a like almost head lock or something, neck lock or something. But had he kept it on the feet, especially, he would have won that fight. But then, you know, Khamzat was able to tough it out, get the takedown, get some control time, and it was a close decision. I will be fair, it was a close decision, but Khamzat narrowly edged it out. You get me? But Usman deserves a bit more respect. I mean, he's still winning right now. He's still a top 3 welterweight. He was pound for pound for a reason. You get me? And I do believe that, you know, that Usman win is really, really well, you know. But this even shows that even when Khamzat is dead tired, he's still a great grappler, great wrestler. And if DDP gets tired, right, Khamzat can just lay on top of him, just like Brunson laid on top of DDP. Now, DDP will eventually be able to get up, but that control time is so essential, especially when judging rounds, right? Especially since DDP cannot land clean upstairs shots with anybody. And I don't believe he'll be able to do so with Khamzat. And I don't believe DDP will be able to replicate the upstairs boxing that Usman and Gilbert Burns did, especially that clean, fast crosses, hooks, and things, especially when Khamzat is tired. I just don't believe that. Now, DDP is a great fighter. Like, please believe me, he's a really great fighter, very interesting for the division and for the UFC. It's just that stylistically, he's outmatched. Just when you look at the styles and the striking, I don't believe it's in his favor. You understand? Now, I still believe DDP can be able to win, right? And I'm gonna get to that. Just stay in tune, right? But I'll probably even go so far to say that DDP never truly fought anybody like Usman or Burns, somebody who was a very strong wrestler with amazing striking of their own. And the only person we kind of low key saw that was with Sean Strickland, who is a great defensive wrestler, anti-grappler, and has good enough a little bit striking. And those were his toughest matchups. And this is just evidence to what I'm saying. Since he wasn't able to take it to the ground like he wanted to do, so he had to rely on that blitz and kicks like crazy. And even though it is what it is, I have Khamzat winning more so by KO than submission. Honestly, I think Khamzat is more likely to win by TKOing Dricus than by submitting him, honestly, or by decision. That's also a real thing. All right, so the script likely goes something like this. In round 1, DDP, this is how this fight is probably going to go. Round 1 is going to open up. DDP is going to be very kick heavy. He's going to kick. Khamzat is going to be that patient man, walk him down boxing. But when Khamzat starts to walk him down, DDP's kicks are going to fade because you cannot keep going backwards. And DDP will either do that dirty man boxing I was telling you that he did against over there, and that probably won't land very clean or very well, and just might get him cracked. And if that happens, DDP will eventually resort to some sort of panic takedown, trip or throw, but Khamzat will probably be able to defend it. And, you know, and then maybe, and this is probably where everyone else is going, right? People saying, oh, Khamzat's going to get the takedown, control DDP, get the submission. And I don't necessarily believe that. I think people are looking at this fight completely wrong, especially if you watch this entire video, you understand that I have a completely different opinion, right? But the thing is that, right, DDP, then Khamzat's going to get the takedown, control DDP a bit. He might even attack some submissions, but DDP is not going to get submitted. I'm standing on everything I'm saying. DDP is not going to get submitted. I don't necessarily believe that, at least not in the first couple rounds. I don't believe that, right? But I think it's going to be some sort of rinse and repeat. DDP is going to be the kick heavy. You know, Khamzat's going to press forward with that patient man boxing, you get me? And then DDP is going to either do that dirty man boxing. Who knows, maybe might crack Khamzat a little bit, but Khamzat's going to crack him back. You know, one of the others going to initiate a takedown. If Khamzat initiates a takedown, DDP will be able to get up. And if DDP initiates a takedown, Khamzat will be able to scramble up and get out of it. And we're going to see some sort of rinse and repeat of that in so many words. We might end up going to some sort of close or split decision in some capacity. I don't think that's out of the room here, out of the imagination or reality here, right? But honestly, if DDP throws, as the rounds keep on going, if DDP throws a kick or just gets cracked by Khamzat on the feet, and if DDP isn't quick enough to try some sort of takedown or clinch, or Khamzat cracks him on that blitz, it could lead to a KO or even a submission, since DDP is not really getting that takedown. This is not really getting the takedown that he's looking for, right? And I honestly believe, funny enough, we're going to see Khamzat not really shoot for takedowns in this fight. I don't believe that Khamzat is going to. I genuinely believe that Khamzat is probably going to want to strike with DDP, and DDP is going to be the one to want to grapple with Khamzat. I really believe that. You guys should watch this back when you guys see this. Or maybe something else we can also see. DDP might resort to a very kick-only heavy offense, in the sense he's trying to keep Khamzat at bay. He's trying to kick Khamzat away, keep him, leg kick him and things. But I don't believe that's going to work very long, because Khamzat, like I said, is just going to eventually just move forward and just land on DDP. He's probably going to land something. Maybe he's going to mix it with a dirty man boxing, heavy boxing or something. And then, because I saw he was doing some of that in some of the embedded stuff, right? And DDP is going to, and then Khamzat is going to be the one defending takedowns, right? And he's probably not going to chase that takedown any further, because he wants DDP to stand up, only for him to land more on the feet. You understand? I really believe it's going to go so. I know some of you guys are probably listening and going like, wow, this guy's crazy. But I'm telling you, the things I'm speaking about in here, you are going to see these things in this fight. This fight is not going to be, oh, round 1 Khamzat or this. If anything, I think it's going to be a pretty competitive fight on the feet in some capacity. It's either going to be domination or by Khamzat, or DDP is probably going to maybe get some sort of really good ground and pound KO. And, you know, yeah, probably, it's possible. And I'm going to get to how that can happen. But still, I think that Khamzat is not going to want to chase DDP onto the ground. Even if he is able to rob DDP and DDP goes to the ground, or DDP fails on a submission. No, DDP fails on, sorry, not submission, I mean, DDP fails on a takedown. Khamzat is not going to chase it further with DDP, because DDP's pure jiu-jitsu is so strong and fundamentally sound. He's so strong about it as well. He's not going to want that. He's going to make DDP stand up, and he's going to piece him up on the feet. And I think we're going to really see, if anything, we might see DDP go full mode. And that's really going to be dangerous for him if he's going to do that Sean Strickland one thing, and he can end up getting cracked really, really bad. And we might see that KO that I was talking about, right? So this is the way that I believe DDP can win. If anything, I believe that DDP can win by ground and pound TKO, or maybe at least he can steal around by ground and pound TKO. Now, I don't necessarily believe that DDP is going to submit Khamzat. I believe Khamzat will definitely be able to roll out of it, but trust me, DDP is going to shoot a takedown, some sort of takedown attempt. I don't know if it's going to be a throw or a trip or a clinch throw. I don't know, something along those lines on Khamzat. And Khamzat is going to defend it. If anything, I think that DDP could probably land a takedown on Khamzat. I could probably see that happening. But I think Khamzat will be able to use the same strategy as Burns, using a knee shield and hammer fisting away at DDP to avoid the ground and pound. Or maybe we can see DDP snatching up around by the ground and pound TKO. Not TKO, by ground and pounding, right? But I don't believe he's going to be able to finish Khamzat Chimaev, right? But I'm telling you this now. DDP, in his heart of hearts, he believes the way he's going to win is by ground and pound TKO. And he even mentioned this in the ceremonial weigh-in. I was writing the script, I think just before then, right? He said this in the ceremonial day, I'm going to get the TKO by ground and pound. And this really proves everything I'm saying here, because it's really leading to that, to what DDP can do. DDP believes that his best way to win is going to be by that. And I believe that it's very possible that Khamzat can get out muscled in the jiu-jitsu. But I'm not sure if that's going to lead to a ground and pound TKO or submission. I don't believe that. If anything, he might get into a dominant position. If anything, it is possible we see DDP reverse Khamzat and get a dominant position, but I don't believe that DDP will be able to finish Khamzat like that. I don't necessarily believe that. So if anything, that's the breakdown of the fight. That's the breakdown of everything. I hope you guys like this stuff. This is really like more in-depth, really more specific stuff. Please like the video, subscribe, guys. Please do that. If you guys want more content, if you guys want more breakdowns and stylistic matchups and things. I'm in school. I'm still in high school, and I'm in the middle of exams. I'm heading in. I'm actually writing tests and things. So yeah, guys, that's really all for me. And I'll really see you guys on the next one. I have to go and study right now. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be watching this fight. I'll do my post-fight analysis and everything. I would do a breakdown on the entire card, but like I said, I am so stretched on time at the moment. You know, I just can't do it right now. I'm just gonna be doing the main cards or just some interesting fights that I like, or just the really hot fights that everyone likes. But honestly, if I have to give you a rough prediction, I have Khamzat winning either by decision or late round TKO, or DDP by TKO somewhere in the earlier rounds. All right, but I do believe that the longer this fight goes, the more it favors Khamzat Chimaev.
And that was the video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more in-depth fight analysis. I will be making a recap of the entire card, or at least the main card. And yeah, please leave a comment. Tell me, what do you think about my analysis? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? What do you think about it? And yeah, guys, please, I'm saying it again, do not forget to click the subscribe button and to like. But aside from that, see you guys on the next one, and see you guys in the next video. JellyFish out.